Every job.
I'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for buying a business. And Luke and Ben are about to learn a very valuable lesson.
What is that?
Oh, they're not that smart.
Nice. Lesson learned.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, Ben, what would you like to accomplish today?
Mm. Uh, Honestly, I came in here hoping someone would enlighten me in what I want to accomplish. I am,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so our talent, our gifts will take us a certain level. And so they'll take us to a certain level and then we'll hit a ceiling. And and so a lot of times, especially young men, they don't realize that. And so they might be hot stuff, they might be doing well, but in another dimension, they'll get demolished. So my pickleball coach, Courtney, she said, the way you play pickleball now, Mark, you're probably gonna, mostly always win, which I did today. And so she said, you're going to, but in the next level, in the next level, yeah, probably not. And so the sooner that people learn that, the sooner people learn that, the better they're going to be. Questions?
Because what is that?
Because, pride goes before a fall. If you
Mm-hmm.
think you're smart, you're not going to learn. Um, you're not going to go ahead and learn.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had somebody who was fascinating. I had, somebody that, 20s, 30s, the other day said that they thought somebody shared with them that they thought that this person was a good student and older people didn't learn as much as fast. I said, really? That's fascinating. And so I think I might be the best student I've ever been in my life right now.
That's very cool
Why is that?
that you're the best student at 62 years young.
Right? So why do I feel that way? It's just, I don't know, the more you know, the more you know you don't know. The more you know you don't know, the more you want to know. If you go ahead and have a life vision, if you have a life vision, if you have if you have something to go after, if you don't have something to go after, I was talking to a mother of a teenage boy today, and talking about vaping and alcohol and drugs and all that kind of stuff. And it's like I said to that mom, I said, what worked for me when I was a child is they had a TV commercial and it said, "This is your brain." And they showed an egg. And then they said, "This is your brain on drugs." And they put it in a frying pan and they fried the egg. Now, if you're going to do physical labor your whole life, what do you care if your brain is fried? um,
Amen.
you know,
That is the way to think right there. Shoo, never thought about it that way. That's cool.
right. And so, when your body starts giving out, I don't know, 27, like, like what what's going to happen? So maybe your body's going to give out at 27, where maybe at 62, your body, you might be more healthy than when somebody else at 27 because of your mind. Huh. That's interesting. Luke, what would you like to accomplish today?
So the conversation this morning about getting to core stuff. How do you like? It seems like my problems always come with me wherever I go, whatever I do. I'm always dealing with my shit. I mean, excuse the foul
And
language.
it's okay. Yeah, it's a voice. Yeah, no, we're
I,
good.
I, I, I got a random guess. My sister loves this one. You ever think that maybe you are the problem instead of the things following you? Maybe you are that problem.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like I'm the issue. How do I fix me?
Um, so we're working on that to make a dimensional, to make a dimensional jump. There's invisible here. And so we're working a lot on that. And like it's interesting because Kenny, you guys all know Kenny that are on the live one. Kenny went ahead and said something about how does he ratchet it, but I think he's only brought it up once. So what that shows me is he doesn't really want to fix it.
Does anyone ever want to fix their stuff? Tell they're down bad?
I do.
Anyone normal?
I think I'm normal.
Mm.
I think people who don't do that are the ones that aren't normal. I mean, we're born to grow. We're born to be adventurers. We're born to desire and be curious and have questions. We're born to do that,
And the phones, drugs, and alcohol all destroy that.
right? And so,
Just
it just so Luke, I mean, what you're learning about in the Top Gun, definitely recommend that for everybody. The Top Gun sales boot camp training, like you're learning about the different dimensions. And so here you've got, how do I make a dimensional jump? Well, we know based on we've known for years, what moves us forward is faith, see, understand, do, humility, great stewardship, contentment, self discipline, perspective, strong life vision. What holds us back is fear. We do not do. We lack understanding, do not do. Pride, poor stewardship, lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, low morale, and lukewarm. And so, like the vision, if we think, like there was one gentleman, the poor guy, he's in his 40s now, early 40s. And I don't know when he was in his 30s, early 30s, something like that. He said, well, I've accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. Like I got married, great wife, want to have kids, wife, and have a house and own a house and have a good job. So I think what happened to him is that 35, early 30s, 35, he stopped growing. He's now arrived. It's absolutely fascinating to be around him because he's always talking. He's always got an opinion on everything. He's not learning. He's trying to teach everybody else how smart he is, and he's not really that smart. He's not about a lot of things. And so here it seems like what we're doing here is the ratchet principle, and Anita's really worked. She's doing great. It's insane how much she's growing. I honestly didn't know if she was going to make it. She is just, it's crazy. So once you make that jump, you got to ratchet it in, you got to lock it off. So often we do really good on something in anything. It can be anything in life. We do really good, and then all of a sudden we slip. And when we slip, we lose that, and then we slip down here and we start going down. And so
Can you
here, if you,
retract it?
what's that?
Can you retract it, or is it all downhill from there? It's, I mean,
Well, according to this model here, when you go down the fractal, you go down, do you go back up and try it again, or do you probably go all the way down again until you get down to the bottom and then you get up? And so you're really never growing. But this is what we learned last night in my sleep. And what I learned is that there's false growing pains. Like people say, I'm getting better. Are they? Are you? Are you sure? Doesn't seem like you are. And so, like the Mach 1 principle, so it seems like on the screen, it seems like there's something that holds us back. And I think it's being hurt at a heart level, maybe. Now with Luke, you haven't seemed like been hurt. So you got a big thing to climb with your expressive, because it's very much, it's very much making Luke happy. It's about Luke. And so that's not going to work out well for you in life. It just won't. And so if you go ahead and write down the things that you think are the issues, and then you try to find the symptom, like what's the core behind it? And then you bring that up every week. You bring that up on the calls. Like Anita's driving forward the ratchet principle, Kenny's not. Okay, well, hopefully he's driving something else forward. Hopefully he's not stuck in a perpetual state where he thinks he's doing good, but he's just learning addition over and over again. So our oldest son, Jonathan, probably when he was, 16 years old, I said, buddy, you've been over to Africa. You've got this amazing vision. You've got this and this. So you're pretty hot stuff right now. I get it. But that's not going to be the same. Once you hit 20, it changes everything. You go from 20 to 30, it changes everything. You go from 30 to 40, it changes everything. Every decade changes. And if you don't change, if you don't make that jump ahead of time, it's like you get buried. Jason, what would you like to accomplish today?
Your earlier conversation about the where you I was still processing some of that, but basically where their talents and whatever will get them to a certain level.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of, well, even myself or whatever, like if I don't learn how to delegate or how to train or how to do that,
Right.
I'll end up owning a job versus versus an actual company, and I'll be the one that limits or caps out the growth and caps out all that. So it kind of reminded me of that, of how to move through into that or into that next thing, I guess.
I've worked with a lot of CPAs, a lot of accountants over the years, and a while back, I was talking to an accountant, and I said, yeah, my experience, they burn out. If you don't do these things, you're going to burn out. And he said, that's not going to happen to me. I said, okay. How long have you been in business? He said 7 years. I said, okay. My experience, it happens right about 15 years. And it seems like there's a pattern not only with accountants, but there's a pattern with pastors. There's a pattern with police officers. There's a pattern with teachers. There's this pattern. And so burnout often comes because we're not challenged. It's not because we have too much stress. It's because we don't have enough stress in the right areas. So we become bored. So Ben, he asked me, he says, Dad, you got 9 companies. You don't have to work. You could just go ahead and, take an RV and go. Why don't you be like other 62-year-olds? Well, there's a lot of 62-year-olds that don't have the freedom I do. I have wondered about this, not to go and go into the PB church. That's another podcast. But in that church, it doesn't replace your current church. It's It's 30 minutes every Sunday morning at 7 o'clock Eastern time. And I've wondered in the spiritual area, like our creator, whatever religion you are, like I wonder if our creator doesn't allow us to have free time, an abundance of free time, until we're going to steward it well. I wonder if we don't have an abundance of free time. So a new guy asked, he says, so Mark, you're here all the time at pickleball. Like, when did you retire? I said, well, I own 9 companies. He's like, really? I said, yeah. And I have 20 to 30 hours of free time a week. He's like, huh. And it's like, because I learned to think differently about time in large part, but there's a whole bunch of things like the leverage course. And so nobody taught me these things. So I probably could have done it at 56. Well, my goal was to do it at 30. So most men, a lot of men, they never get to do it. They definitely don't get to do it at 56. But 56 was not like spectacular to me because I was aiming for 30. And so, but nobody helped me. Nobody guided me. I had to figure all this stuff out on my own. And it's like, I think back, well, what if I would have had somebody like me in my life? And I didn't, and it's okay. But this is why I hang out with, Alvin Miller every week and Mel and Ernie, because they're in their mid 80s. So when I turned 40, I went ahead and had this epiphany, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I wish I knew at 20 what I know at 40. And then I had another epiphany. I said, well, if that's the case, why didn't I think about this at 20? Why didn't anybody tell me this? Like, why didn't anybody tell me, like, Mark, when you hit 40, you're going to wish you knew at 20 what you know at 40? Like, why didn't anybody say that? Nobody told me that. That'd have been nice. Anyways, then I thought, well, when I turn 60, I bet you I'm going to wish I knew at 40 what I know at 60. I'm like, huh? So now I know. But it took me 40 years to come to that position. And so nobody told me I was smart until I was 40. People should do podcasts on that. Like they should really, Mark. And it's like, yeah, not even your own mom. Nope. Nobody told me I was smart until I was 40. And then everybody started telling me how smart I was. It was a wonderful gift because when you go 40 years without being told you're smart, it doesn't go to your head. It's like, I'm not really. I mean, I am in certain areas, but just because I'm smart in this area doesn't mean I'm smart in this area. And there's probably people, most likely, there's probably people out there that even in the areas I'm smart, they're a lot smarter than I am. And so I studied. What I did is I said, how do I go ahead and acquire 20 years of knowledge in like 3 years? And I've set out on a plan to do that. And one of the biggest areas was to connect with men in their 60s and ask them, what do you wish you knew at 40 that you now know at 60? It's not that hard. It's not brain surgery. Like if I'd have just done that when I was in my 20s. But I didn't think of it. Nobody taught me it. And so that's how I got connected with Tom, because of that specific situation. And with younger men, I would encourage you to have older men in your life that can help you. 15, 20 years older is wonderful. If you're in your 20s or 30s, I would be humbled to realize that you can learn a lot from people who are 10 or 15 years old. You can learn, like a lot of men at my age wonder why I have so many young men and women around me. I think a lot of the reason is because I'm a good student and I seek to learn as much or more from them as they do from me. And so that makes me interesting to be around because I'm not just there to teach people, I'm there as much or more to learn. And so a tip for young men is like, you don't know what they've been through. You think you've been through a lot. You have not been through what they've been through. You just haven't. If you're humble, they will go ahead and make introductions to you that'll blow your mind. If you're humble, they will give you wisdom and knowledge like you can't even believe. It's crazy what they'll do. If they don't think you're grateful, if they don't think you're humble, if they think you're arrogant, if they think you're just gonna take it and waste it, you couldn't pay them for what they can give you. And so, and you'll go ahead and get introduced to more and more. Like Kenny, when we did the San Antonio trip, he's like, dang, you know a lot of people. And when Kenny and Jason and I went on the East Coast trip, I don't know. I have a feeling that Ben and I might go on a West Coast trip. Like that would be pretty wild. And it'd be interesting to introduce him to some people. And if he's a good steward of those people, they'll change his life forever. So, anyone else have any other questions or thoughts?
Nope.
Luke, anything you got?
So
Jason, anything you got?
Nope, I'm good. I gotta run.
Yep. If you have any questions on anything we covered today, feel free to connect with the individual who invited you to participate, or you can call toll free 888-230-2300 outside the US 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.